1856, you see a lot more fluctuation. This is about as far back as we can go with what I might call instrumental measurement. That is, using something that would resemble what you would call a thermometer. Again, a lot of fluctuation. There's a lot of uncertainty, or let me put it, what the scientist means by uncertainty is variation in results taken by different instruments, different observers. So there's a couple of error bars in there just to show you what kind of validity we can expect to accord these data. At the beginning, 1856, there's a lot of range and possible acceptance. As we come up to modern times, a much smaller error bar. The next one down below, you can see it, yeah. You're seeing temperatures as measured by satellite. And so, of course, this is more recent. The first one is temperatures in the stratosphere, then in the troposphere, and then in the surface. You notice something which, to the layman at least, is very unusual. Here we keep talking about climate warming. And it's true, surface temperature is going up. The troposphere, which is where we live, the temperature is going up. But the stratosphere, the temperature is going down. Is this a contradiction? Well, according to the physics, this is just what you expect. You've got to remember, and I will point out more about this, the warming of our atmosphere is a result of the solar energy coming in from above and the re-radiation of the Earth from below. The re-radiation from below is governed by the atmosphere. If the atmosphere absorbs more energy, then you expect less to get into the stratosphere, and therefore stratospheric temperature should go down. This is perfectly in accord with the theory. Of course, to some of the skeptics, it's only theory. Just like I like to remind students, it's only theory that if you walk off the top of a 10-story building, you're going to get hurt. That's only theory. Let's just continue with data. Well, let me hold on for that for a bit. It seems to be clear that the world is getting warmer. Let's put it that way. Now, the controversy comes from when you try to reconstruct the data going much further back. Now, we don't have thermometers going back, say, to the year 1000. But we do have ways of getting temperature way back. The usual way is either tree rings or ice or snow cores. Or nowadays, there's still a different method of reconstruction, looking at old, going into caves and looking at stalactites and stalagmites and looking at the isotopic composition. So that's another proxy measurement. So here we're talking about proxy measurements until recently. So just look at that top one for a moment. Because this is a source of a lot of the skepticism. What you have here, the light lines are various reconstructions. As I said, there are various means of doing the reconstructing. Cave measurements, isotopic measurements in caves, isotopic measurements in ocean bottom sediments, cores of ice up in Greenland and in Antarctica, and tree rings. And you get a lot of range. The black line here is the modern instrumental measurements. And some people are very unhappy with the way the recent measurements have been melded with the old measurements. You see some of the old measurements going up. We don't really have, there's something wrong with the tree measurements in here. The stalactites and the cores seem to agree fine. But there's a lot of disagreement among the skeptics as to how this dark line fits into the earlier measurements. And, well, let's look at some of the earlier measurements. Here you have ice core temperatures from Antarctica. And now you're going back a long way. Remember, this top way is going back to the year 1000 AD. Here now, you're going back many thousands of years in this middle thing here. So you got a lot of fluctuation. Here's where we are now. And of course, when you see all this fluctuation, warming and cold and cooling, a lot of the skeptics will say, obviously, we weren't the cause back there. There's fluctuation back there. Therefore, we don't have to worry about human causing now. So you see, the scientific questions and the political questions are completely mixed up together. One other thing you should get from this graph, the bottom one, here again, you're going over many thousands of years before the present, and you're looking at both temperature measurements and the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Again, both of these are what I might call proxy measurements. How, for example, how are you going to get carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Well, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere becomes represented in the snow which falls. The snow forms ice, and you have the ice cores in Antarctica. So the same ice core which gives you a temperature, the temperature is based on the relationship between oxygen 18 and oxygen 16. That's a proxy thermometer, but you get directly the carbon dioxide. And the thing you have to draw from this curve, this lower graph here, is that there's a pretty good correlation between carbon dioxide and temperature. Now that's just a correlation. Correlation is not science. Let me remind you that there's a correlation between sunrise and rooster crowing. That doesn't mean that there's a scientific relationship between the roosters and the sun. Some people may think that there are, but I don't. All right, that's the data. There's a lot of discussion about the data. There are still skeptics who say they can pick out sections of time where the temperatures have been going down. They can pick out all sorts of fluctuations. But in general, it seems to me that you have to say that the climate has been going up. The temperature, world temperature, has been going up.
Yeah, the last two curves, they are direct measurements from the ice core or reconstructed? Yes. They are not reconstructed from any theory or anything like that?
No theory yet.
Okay.
No theory yet.
And the y-axis, it says the temperature deviation.
Yeah, measured from some
particular point?
From some average.
Okay.
All right, so that's the first question. Is the world climate changing? Is the world climate temperature going up? I think the answer is pretty solidly yes. Second question, cause of the climate